Hello, this is SoScared and welcome to a video of 2 matches from the Big Team Tournament. Now I have removed the Big Team Tournament videos which were released before, which were like 1 and 1.5 hour sessions from the very start of the tournament. And the reason for this is, there's 2 reasons for this. The first reason being that the tournament was cancelled. Even though there were played about 37 matches and just a couple of matches to go, it just took too long, and so it was decided that it should be cancelled, which was unfortunate, but still there was a total of 37 matches played that tournament. And the reason it was cancelled is the first couple of weeks we had like maybe 15 to 20 matches, and then it slowed down, and the goal was for one team to win 20 points, to win 20 matches. But so in the end we had a lot of good experience with the tournament, and it sets the stage for our next tournament, as we know now more of what sort of preparations and style we want to do. So what I didn't want to do is just keep making these long sessions of tournament videos and then end up with oh, that's it, we have to end the tournament, it wasn't played, it wasn't finished when we got to, like, I think the score ended up with like 19 to 18, which is kind of ridiculous, but still, you know, he didn't want to finish it because it sort of got tedious to get players to force players to finish the tournaments when they felt they had played their part. But so the second reason for not continuing with this is it just didn't feel worth it. I mean, if the tournament wasn't going to be finished, then making these videos with such quality as you can see here, there was just some games which were and you'll forgive this, uninteresting. No disrespect to the players, but that's just how it goes. It was sort of mixed up with very good experienced players and some new players, and you can imagine there was quite a mix up as to the quality of the matches played. So then, because I still have a lot of game footage, I decided that I could just release the games I found to be worthwhile and just leave the rest alone. So we'll see how many games I will put out of this tournament. This tournament, of course, is played with the last release, and so after I release these footages, we can just make new ones with the new release. So this match right here, these 2 matches which we are going to see are sort of a double matchup. It's the same 4 players playing against each other over 2 matches, and the first game, which is this game, is Tiberian Dawn, and the other game is the other match is played on Red Alert. And the reason for that is that the teams which are playing against each other have sort of preferences to which game they want to play. AgentAAA here, for example, he's our more experienced player in Tiberian Dawn. And of course I myself, I have not played Tiberian Dawn as much, or should I say at all. I think this game right here was my 3rd match. But still, if you play a lot of Red Alert, there's still very much similarities between Red Alert and Tiberian Dawn, so it still can get to be a good game. So the teams are from Team Nukem. Starting south is me, SoScared, and DN, another experienced Red Alert player. And for the top team, from Team Scott, we had AgentAAA and MicroBit. So MicroBit and AAA playing as Nod, DN playing also as Nod and me playing as GDI. And there are big differences between those two teams. And the reason I chose the GDI is just the team I started out with when I first started playing this mod. And first thing I learned quickly is that the Nod faction has good aircrafts. The Apache, which can take down about every unit except the anti-air units. What was I gonna say? Yeah, you want to build like APCs for the GDI because if you do not and the opponent is building these Apaches, they will take complete control of the map and will eventually run you over. So here we have medium tanks for SoScared, anticipating an early attack from AgentAAA. The Nod faction, played by AAA, has a lot of flamethrowers in them, and that's one of the reasons the Nod faction is that popular, because if you can get those units inside the base, they will basically melt your buildings down to rubble in seconds. And you can see here SoScared trying to muster up a defense. He's waiting for a guard tower to pop out. There he goes, and then he sends in his forces. And that will be enough to repel this attack. And in this mod, the Tiberian Dawn is relatively easy to defend early attacks like that. If you have a guard tower, it takes out infantry very quickly. And there we have an APC shooting down an Apache right there. But as I was saying, oh, excuse me, didn't hit anything. So if you have a small force and you know you're getting attacked, you can ready up a building, a defense building, guard tower, or a what's it called, the rocket tower for the GDI. You can basically stop any attack if you know it's coming with these guard towers. It might be overpowered. So other than that, AgentAAA's Apaches is still going around and having control of the map, but SoScared is also going out on the map with his forces, trying to control the map as well. And it's going to move his forces up into the middle. Ooh, okay, so DN's airstrike there, taking out some of the power of MicroBit. On top right there. In Tiberian Dawn, it's very unforgiving if you lose your power, because you cannot power down your buildings like you can in Red Alert. If you lose your power, you just have to either sell your buildings, which take power, or your production is just going to be slowed tremendously. And actually, DN is going to continue to take down power from MicroBit, which will create a huge problem for him. If you could take down the last building there, yeah, he has no power left. This can take forever to build up new power plants. So what he wants to do is probably sell. He has the Hand of Nod. I mean, what's he called? This super building for the Nod faction, and nothing else. Now he's going to lose his construction yard, which means he can't build any more power plants. That's bad for MicroBit. He can't rebuild his MCV either. He don't have a service depot. So that's that means if this goes on, it's gonna be looks to be a 2 versus 1 match. SoScared is positioning his forces in the middle to sort of isolate MicroBit, so DN can continue to take out these buildings. It's very smart. And these flamethrowers by DN has done like everything. Here you can see like 2 flamethrower trucks. Is that what they're called? they take out. Look at how fast they take out their ore refineries. Kind of crazy. So if you imagine having like 10 flamethrower units, like infantry units, inside the base, they just melt your base. It's very dangerous. They're just gonna continue taking out. Oh, that was an advanced power plant there, but still doesn't matter. It's too many tech buildings up. And now there's just one hand of nod left for MicroBit to produce units from. Still moving around very sinister. Yep. AAA trying to get his recon bikes to maybe help out, but it's going to be deflected. And DN and SoScared just going to control the slow destruction of MicroBit at this point. There's nothing that's going to stop this base from disappearing. That means that our Tiberian Dawn player here, AAA,
enemy planes approaching.
It's going to be alone for a 1 versus 2 for the rest of the match. There are no crates turned on for the tournament, so you can't get a new MCV in a crate or something like that. SoScared building mammoth tanks now. Doing well against flamethrowers, apparently. Alright, so this is an advanced guard tower. That's the name of the advanced tower for the GDI. I forgot that earlier. It's gonna deflect this attack with 2 mammoth tanks. SoScared is. So that means what AAA here? I mean, AgentAAA still has a lot of economy left. He has like 5 ore refineries.
Enemy
and he has a high yield. Wait a second. He has a high yield Tiberium patch right there, and a lot of Tiberium left overall around this base. So he might still do well if SoScared and DN is lacking their economy game. He still can catch up. I mean, if you're a good enough player, you can still take out 2 players. For the time being, the skill level isn't as such as the skill level isn't at that level yet, where if you are 2 versus 1, there's an absolute win. Well, if all of the players were at the same skill level for the same mod, of course it would be. But in this case, AAA is well versed in Tiberian Dawn, and now actually going to take out a lot of harvesters from SoScared. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ore trucks are in danger of being taken out by these fast-going recon bikes, and they do a lot of damage too. And SoScared only has a slow army moving around trying to deflect this, but he can't. So he's going to lose. He lost at least 4 ore harvester. Still have 3 left. Actually 4. But that's a big econ loss for SoScared. Now also might take out something with this airstrike. No, it's going to take out some of SoScared's power.
Nuclear warhead.
And a nuclear warhead launching from who? Is that DN? That's DN's nuclear missile. It's going to go straight into AAA's base. Now actually AAA is going to go for a... Ooh, actually leading with his... Oh, that's a good strike. But leading with his artillery up front, it's going to lose half of them straight away. And so this attack looks like it's going to be deflected. Unfortunate for him. It looks to me like... a lot of things happening at the same time. But it looks to me like that was the attack that had to do damage, if AAA were hoping to do something with this game. Now instead, both SoScared and DN has their tech up, and is gonna retain their map control with a formidable force, which they do not want to attack blindly into defenses. but still, it's not much. It's not much AAA can do to stop the southern team from taking over. SoScared with a small task force, wanting to take out one ore refinery here. Successfully, yeah, successfully does so. But still, AAA has a lot of ore refineries and ore harvesters left. Ooh, good strike, taking out 3 recon bikes. And SoScared gonna try to take out the second ore refinery with this clump of mammoth tanks. While AAA's recon bike is gonna take out a lone mammoth tanks. That's well done. It's still gonna move around, trying to do the damage that he can.
Civilian killed. Civilian killed.
Yeah, you get a good production still, AAA. Oop, it's gonna take out the second mammoth tank here. No, almost. And the mammoth tank are real. They are so valuable. What you're going to do is you're going to have to do everything to make them stay alive, because what they do is if they're left alone for a while, they will start to heal. They will start to regenerate their health. And so if you can just sort of micro your mammoth tanks well, then they are probably the most cost-efficient units in the game. Actually moving up now, it's going to pressure AAA from 2 sides. The small task force here from the end. It's going to try to do something up north, but it's going to be deflected, and SoScared taking the opportunity to attack from the east, from the right maybe I should say. Going to take out a advanced power plant and a advanced communication center, I believe it was, or maybe just a regular. And now you see the mammoth tank cannot retreat, so they will have to be forced to engage this battle. It's going to lose a lot of mammoth tanks. Yeah, actually, maybe his entire force here. Aircraft doing nothing. No, still 5 mammoth tanks left, and that should be enough to keep pressuring the base in such that AAA cannot come back. And that should be the end of the game, basically. There's nothing we can do to stop these mammoth tanks now with so few units left. And chemical warriors here, coming from the north. So as now you have these flamethrowers and chemical warriors. I'm not too sure about the difference between them. I know that the chemical warriors, they can actually walk across Tiberian without taking damage. As you probably knew, infantry in general cannot cross Tiberian, as they will start to lose health. Tiberian is poisonous to humans. AgentAAA likes to do like the last man standing technique, which you just do your best until your last unit is dead, no matter what. That's kind of fun to see some players doing. I myself tend not to do that. If I see that a game is basically lost, then I very quickly just surrender. I don't like to spend time on just trying to do the last man standing. I don't mind it though if people do that. In general. So that's it for this game. Next game will be on Red Alert. The same teams, same players. It's gonna be. This was. Oh, actually, I forgot to change the map name. It should say map Asymetric Battle, created by what's his name? Sai, I think. Or Civ or something like that. Sorry about that. Anyways, this is a 6-player map with a lot of oil derricks.
Control initialized.
As you can see, there's 4 here. There's 4 on the bottom, 4 on the top, with 6 on each side, so that total of like 12, how many? 12, 16, 22, oh, it's over 20 oil derricks anyway, so it's a pretty huge map. It's a very open map. So if you play this map, you should try to find these oil derricks as soon as possible, because at least the closest oil derricks to you are not going to be contended for the early game. So what you want to do is just get your engineer and start taking over these oil derricks. See, there's quite a big number of oil derricks around here. And so map control is key for this map. So what you're going to see most likely are air units from all the players trying to control the map and scout for anything they can find. MicroBit is going for a ore refiner first, which is a normal strategy. You can start building that before your barracks. But in this case, given that there are so many oil derricks around, you might want to focus on your early infantry units. First scout unit of AAA is going to be taken down by a scout unit from SoScared. And of course the Soviet dogs are preferable if you want to do an early scout with Soviet. And for the allies, well, you have the infantry, but you can get the ranger from the war factory. It's a pretty good scout unit. It's fast and it has a huge huge view area. MicroBit's gonna rush out a hind, and that's a pretty good unit for this situation. There you can see his 2 oil derricks. Can't be taken because he has no barracks out, and what he wants to do is just try to get them as soon as possible. AAA is opening with a double ore refinery first. Technique. I do that as well, although recently I've started to, because I watched some of Nukem's and Overkill's games. They tend to just go straight for the war factory and you just start spamming out ore harvesters. And if you can get away with that, if you do not anticipate any early attacks, that will be the most economy efficient build. You get your ore factory, of course it's gonna, I mean war factory, excuse me, and you start pumping out ore harvesters. Then you, of course, for the first couple of minutes you're gonna stay behind in economy because it takes a long time to build a war factory. But eventually, if you keep building ore harvesters, you can catch up and then eventually take the lead. So here you see the advantage with having air units, just taking out any scout unit of your opponent, and get a good view of the map. You can see on the map it's still pretty large. It's hard to get a good grip on all the areas. MicroBit's Heinz is going to get a good scout of SoScared base. See that he's building yaks, which should be anticipated. War factory is up. Nothing much else to see. DN's light tank is going to probably... This is of course, if you don't know this tournament was used with the last release. And in that release you cannot repair your husks. And so when you crash your units in front of the exit of the war factory, it's going to stay there for quite a while and you can't get units out. That's one of the reasons why you can repair husks or forcibly destroy them. Here you see he has positioned his light tank right there, so you're going to be forced to take it out, of course, and it's going to leave husk, which is annoying for your opponents. Okay, so finally there's his barracks. It's going to build a turret to take out that. Then you can see the husks lying there. SoScared coming in with his yaks. There's the engineer from MicroBit. AgentAAA has taken over has taken over 4 oil derricks. And there's this ranger and light tanks. And building rocket troops, 5 of them, which are quite expensive. As you can see here, also AAA hasn't expanded to his next ore patch. That's what you want to do generally before the ore patch is drained. You want to expand in such a rate that you never really... Ooh, taking down the engineer, that's a good catch. You never want to expand in such a way that you don't have any ore left. Basically, you want to stay ahead of the ore patches, if I can say it in that manner. Well, you understand what I mean. My English isn't that good. Excuse me for that. SoScared starting to build heavy tanks, as you might have saw. DN is moving up his second MCV. It's going to move it up to the middle, taking additional ore patches. This one right there. MicroBit still hasn't taken his 2 oil derricks. I can see his engineer is up to the left. I think he forgot about it. That's pretty bad. Alright, so here you can see the 2 hinds from MicroBit was spotted by the axe. And looking at the minimap, it looks like most of the units for MicroBit and AAA is stationed basically right outside their base. And here is the view from the southern team, and they... oh, that's bad. It's going straight into anti-air. With these 2 hinds, there is MicroBit. And the southern team has much more map control. So with maps such as this... Oh, here's the 3rd MCV for MicroBit, by the way. That's kind of funky. If you can get away with it, that's good for him. But if on a big map like this, what you want to do, you're gonna have to... You are very much dependent on map control. Because even though you have fewer units than your opponent, you can anticipate and counter whatever comes easily. So SoScared just gonna... Alright, SoScared gonna retain his army here. It's not gonna be stopped by AAA, and he's gonna lose his 2 oil derricks. And DN coming in with the hinds is gonna help out. That means the front of the southern team is gonna... We're just gonna stay high on the map. Also, we have actually a battle, if we can get a view of this pretty soon, right here. MicroBit's 3rd command center is driven all the way to the middle to meet up with DN's construction yard, and now we have a base battle. What do you call it? A base run. Anyways, so here we go. MicroBit is gonna spam out turrets and most likely a barracks to start producing units, and I don't see any help from AAA or help from SoScared on the end side, so it's basically a one against one here. Oh, here's a flame turret by SoScared. It's going to help out with this base war. SoScared also might take out this MCV here from AAA. Still intense battle here. The MCV is going to actually try to defend here. Okay, so SoScared is going to take this MCV, and that's before AAA has actually expanded, and that was actually the last MCV of AAA. So that's pretty bad. Alright, so okay, so DN is going to take out MicroBit's attempt to take control over this area. Also, DN placed his high-tech building up front. Not sure if that's a mistake or just a confidence move on his part. If you're base walking with a tech center, you pretty much feel like you're in control. Oh, there's the engineer from MicroBit. Ooh, that's bad. It's been there all game long, and that's a lot of money lost. And there's still, I would guess, more oil derrick around, not taken. Alright, SoScared's gonna try to keep his position, taking out this unit, and he's gonna do so well. Nope. Still gonna have a formidable force in between AgentAAA and MicroBit's bases. And here comes Tanya, built by DN. It's gonna take out this MCV and this power plant and this oil refinery, and that means that, to be honest, looks like the southern team has taken this game. There's nothing to stop Tanya and these small groups of forces. Oh, okay, Pillbox's gonna take care of that. But I haven't seen any ground forces from MicroBit this entire game, basically. And so SoScared's gonna sandwich this base from the other side, taking out these buildings quickly with his big force of rocket soldiers. And it doesn't look like AgentAAA has the force to help out here, so yeah, it's gonna be a 1 versus 2 in a few seconds. SoScared is splitting up his forces. Possibly he's gonna try to move against AAA with a third of his forces here. AAA is trying to help out his teammate with a small group of rocket soldiers. Walking by the engineer, which did absolutely nothing this game, just taking push-ups and enjoying the scenery. There you go, the last building of MicroBit is gone, and that means that AAA is alone against SoScared and DN. And that will mean that we shall see a slow death by AAA. He's gonna fight to the last man, as he likes to do. SoScared is repositioning his forces. Oh, a Chronosphere by DN. He's gonna move 4 medium tanks to try to take out this MCV center. I mean MCV construction yard. It's not looking to make it. You see the small bar below the green health bar on the units that was conspered. That's the time left for when the units will be conspered back. Right there, yeah. And we'll see that SoScared is gonna try to surround all the fronts towards the base. It's gonna make a final push here in a moment. So I believe AAA, he lost his only MCV earlier on, but he had a service pad, and so he could rebuild his MCV. I guess that's why he still has one. Here comes the final push. It's gonna probably go pretty quickly here. SoScared's got a large force. Yeah, this is how I prefer to play normally. I like to build forces. I'm not a, how do you say, I don't like to use too much finesse in my builds. I try to get a good economy up and a good force up, moving it around. Try to pressure my player and win that way. If it comes to like high-tech gaming, I'm not too good with that. I just like to, and I like to play as Soviet as well. I enjoy the brute force playstyle, if that can be called a playstyle. Alright, so SoScared is gonna take out, no, the end's gonna come in with the Chronospear and take out the last building in front of SoScared. And so that's it. As demonstrated by this match, map control usually wins the game. That's a good lesson for anyone. Alright, so yeah, so what I'm gonna do now for the future, I'm going to locate the map, the footage, the game footage that I found to be interesting, and release them. After that, I might start casting games from the new release, and I'm looking forward to that. Alright, so thanks everybody for watching. This is SoScared, and I'll see you next time.